Deactivating my Instagram for the first time ever. I'm so nervous, but I need to do it. I need to. The nervousness is absolutely a sign that I need to do this. Deactivated. I first downloaded Instagram when I was 11 years old. I'm 24 now, so that means that I have spent over half of my life on social media. Lately, I've been feeling overwhelmed by it and the endless amount of information and content and scrolling to consume. I've made and curated my socials to be a place of inspiration, so it's not necessarily that I feel like it's a negative place to be. It's just a lot coming at me all at once, all the time. I realized you could scroll all day, every day, nonstop for 80 years and never reach the end of the algorithm, even if everyone stopped posting today. There's always more to consume. So I have gone 3 weeks now without social media. I deleted the TikTok app, I deleted the Facebook app, and I archived deactivated is the word, my Instagram, which is the first time I have deactivated my Instagram since I was 11 years old. I'm at this point in my life where I want to turn inwards more, at least process more inwards, which is a little bit out of character because I've been a chronic oversharer for as long as I can remember, and that also goes for oversharing on social media. It's like I've been using it like this personal diary of mine for the last probably since Instagram stories started. And I'm realizing now that not everything needs to be shared all of the time, or at least it doesn't need to be shared before I've processed it. I'm in this stage where I want to tune inwards and at least process inwards and just get down to the bottom of who I am and what do I like? What do I actually like? What do I actually care about versus what I have been told to care about on social media? And I didn't think that influencers influenced me that much. But then I spent 3 weeks away from it and I realized how much I don't care about the things that I thought I cared about, or I do, but I'm not trying to care about them. I'm not trying to curate my social media and my personality a certain way, although I'll get more into that in a minute on authenticity. But another part of wanting to detox or step away from social media was, one, I want to figure out who I am versus who I've been influenced to be. And two, I want to live my life. I spend so much time on social media, Instagram specifically, watching other people live their lives. And I'm not necessarily a person, or at least I didn't think I was a person who spent my life comparing it to others, at least on like a physical standpoint, if that makes sense, like the way I look. But I have been comparing my reality to the reality of a curated social media of people who travel the world all the time and do this and that and the other, and I feel like I'm behind in life because my step 1 isn't the same as their step 200, if that makes any sense at all. With that being said, here is what I learned in the last 3 weeks without social media. I crave busyness. And as someone who is passionate about an intentional life and working towards a slower pace of living, it was surprising to realize just how much I crave busyness. The first few days without social media, I was scrolling through Pinterest like crazy. And then I actually ended up picking up knitting, which was really fun. And I've been doing that, or I've been watching a lot of movies, or reading a lot. I flew through like 2 or 3 books in the first week of 2025 because I was trying so hard to find something to distract myself so that I wasn't scrolling on social media and I wouldn't have the willpower to be able to stick to it. And I realized that I'm not really comfortable with quiet or stillness or just being with my thoughts, which is so surprising to me because I really thought I was in a place like that. Second thing I realized is that I am not as content with myself as I thought I was. The first week of 2025, I'd had deleted my social media for a few days, and then I got super sick and my daughter got sick, and my head hurt too much to read or to look at Pinterest or to knit or anything like that. And so I was just left with the quiet in the thoughts. And I'm someone who used to really struggle with mental illness, and I thought I had overcome so much of that. And while I am in strides in a much better place mentally than I used to be, I'm not as far along as I thought that I was. I thought I'd completely overcome those things, but it turns out I was just distracting myself. I'm a mom, I can't crumble, I can't get lost in all of that. So I was just pushing it off to the side, and that started to resurface. And at first it was scary, but then I realized that there are these different parts of myself that I need to integrate into who I am to be able to fully love and fully know and fully accept myself. It's not that I am inauthentic. I pride myself on being a pretty authentic person and comfortable with who I am. And while that is partially true, that's not the entire truth. I don't think that my social media has been curated to be this false sense of who I am. But just like anything, it's not the full story. It's not that part of me that I share on social media or that I share on my YouTube channel is fake. It's just one part of me or different parts of me. It's not the entire story. And I don't think I'd ever share the shadow side of myself on social media to a full extent because I just don't think that that's necessary. Again, processing inwards. But I do think that I need to come to terms more with all of the parts of myself, not just the parts of myself that look pretty on the outside. Another thing I realized is that I actually like not being in the know. I spent 3 weeks off of Instagram. I have it again, which I only plan on being it for a day. It's been 5 days, so full disclosure. It makes me so anxious. Seeing the constant news, seeing what's going on in the world, what's going on in the United States, always having that information. It's like having the TV on 24/7 and you just see bad, I feel like that's in 1984 or something like that, right? That George Orwell book where they have constant news of all the horrible things that are happening in the world. That's what social media has felt like to me since I got back on it. And while, again, there are these great inspirational people that I follow who I would like to be more like, a lot of it is the doom and the gloom. And while that is very real, I don't need to consume that content 24/7. I can care about people and about the world and not need to hear about how it is going to whatever. Another thing I realized is that I need to be bored more often. There's this quote in parenting, and I'm sure it's everywhere in the world, but I've heard it in parenting that boredom yields creativity, and that if you want your kids to play by themselves more and be more creative in that you need to let them be bored. And I haven't done that enough for myself. I haven't, even in these 3 weeks of no social media, I wasn't allowing myself really to be bored. And when I started getting bored, I'd pick up knitting or something to do with my hands and occupy my brain. So I'm excited to spend more time away from that and to spend more time just sitting with my thoughts and to push through the boredom and start getting more creative. Some of the things I've been doing to help myself with stepping away from social media and to set myself up for success. First of all is I got all of my favorite recipes off of social media, off of Instagram mainly, and I wrote them down in a recipe book, which is actually, I love doing that way more than scrolling on social media or watching a video or going to a website where all of the millions of ads pop up. I've been baking a lot more, which I actually really enjoy, and it's an activity that I can do with my daughter. I've been knitting, which is something I put off for the last year and a half. Like, I started learning and then just didn't pick it back up. And I've been reading. I was such a bookworm growing up. I was that kid who sat at lunch reading when I was 10 or 11. Like, sat and didn't talk to anybody. I just read books every day. And I've distanced that part of myself because I've been so on social media all the time. And I started reading again, which I've really, really enjoyed. I've been more intentional and more present in my moments with my daughter and playing with her. I'm realizing I need to get more creative there on what we're doing, especially in the winter because it can be challenging. But yeah, those are some things that I've been doing to set myself up for success, and finding hobbies that I can do that don't require my phone or my computer and that don't cost a whole lot of money. So with that being said, if you have ever thought about taking some time away from social media, but like me, you are chronically addicted to it, I encourage you to just take the plunge, take the jump. Set up those things. Maybe beforehand you buy like 10 different books, or you learn how to knit, or this, that, or the other, to get yourself ready for this time away from social media, even if it's just for a week, to step away and take a deep breath and really be intentional about it. Realize what's going on in your body when you're away from it versus when you're on it.